Hey everybody, hi, welcome back to It Is What It Is Tarot, where it is what it is and it ain't gonna be what it ain't gonna be. Today, the lighting is what it is. The audio, the video, everything. While I was gone, my number one fan did some rearranging, did some organizing, and of course that means I don't know where anything is. So I was at least gonna get like the little ring light thingy. You know the smaller one? Well, I guess you may not know. But there's a smaller one that I used to at least not have it like this dark, but I didn't know where it was, and the ceiling light is up here. So anyway, all of that is all of that. I'm back. I really enjoyed my trip. Like I guess I knew it would be a short trip, and it's not that I don't know, it felt full but really short. But anyway, I made it back to my humble abode. One of the things I picked up while I was out was this playing card deck with 54 different lobster recipes. We were up in Maine. So, your lobster's cooked. I want to do maybe like a Zodiac series, or like do a longer read with all the Zodiac in it and all signs. There you go. But honestly, I don't know how I would do that. And I was thinking like maybe I could do like solid ingredients, liquid ingredients, and then like spices. I don't know. But I have it anyway. Bottom of the deck is a white lobster chill, the 5 of clubs. See, and then it's like it's a legit recipe. Lobster chill and champagne, white lobster chili, and champagne lobster under that. It's like a whole. I'm like, hey, Holly, how you doing? It was nice. It was really nice. It was good and short. It was good but short, not good and short. Now it's back to reality. Um, yeah, so when I use the Fountain Tarot with the Guiding Light Tarot, those are actually Eve's cards that she let me use for that night. And so I know, like, there were a lot of people, it seemed like, meeting up or collaborating. Like, I know San, Mariana, and Cindy met up. There's 2 other readers, Wolfman Experience, and I think Gary's Tarot, maybe, who have popped up on my feed reading together. There's someone else that was like reading together, and I was like, there's a lot of collaboration going on. Like, I feel like I'm not necessarily going to be a part of that collective experience or that brand of experience going on right now, but then the opportunity came up and I got to go and meet Eve and visit with, or celebrate Eve's birthday with her. So I ended up sort of a part when I really didn't think I would. And I feel like there's like a million and one other things I want to say. Of course, as soon as I hit go live, all of the thoughts fled from my brain. Um, but this Virgo new moon has been interesting. Like I had a dream. I recorded it on the 2nd. So I don't know if that was the night before the Virgo new moon or the night of, or if it was close enough. But it's been a very empowered or empowering time of my life, I guess. I don't know. All right, I can already tell this is going to be one of those where my brain doesn't work. So we'll just get into it. I have the Yelopstis cooked. Those playing cards, I have 75 cents that I got. I went to eat breakfast with my grandma today, and I ended up with 75 cents, 3/4. So I'm going to, and then I I'm going to say heads is masculine, tails is feminine. And then I also have the SKT revelations. And then I just made a community post because when we were on our way to the airport, we were just like going down the road and then the car made a ding noise. And then it was like, so the main path is blue and there was like this offshoot green path and it was like 2 minutes faster. And I was like, what? And then we were behind one RV thing that was Tranquility. It had Tranquility written on the back of it. There was another one that we were behind. I feel like it started with a P or an R, but I don't remember what that second one was. And then we saw deer. There were like some deer that crossed, and it was nice. Like on my way back, I was able to make all of my connections and board the shuttle and everything. I'm so glad it worked out. I feel like I got my good karma. I got my checked carry on karma back yesterday. So because so I had an hour layover between my first flight and my second flight coming back. And that one wasn't too bad, but I was like, I do need to get where I'm going. But when I originally booked my seats, I booked like for way back in the plane because I was trying to, it was one of those 3x3 planes, so 6 seats, 2 rows of three, go where there would be an empty seat. So I was like, oh, if more people are going to book for the front, so my chances of at least having one empty seat by me would be higher the further back I am. But I had like the flight was estimated to land at 6:55 and my shuttle was estimated to depart at 7:30. And like O'Hare, Chicago is a I haven't been to a crap ton of airports, but it's decently sized. And so then I changed my seat up higher to like row 10. I was like, that way I'll be able to get out and give myself the time that I wouldn't have as I'm waiting for everyone else to deboard the plane. So I get there, I do my first layover, I'm waiting and they make the announcement. The flight is 100%, like we're at 100% capacity. The flight is full. It's estimated that we're not going to have enough room for all the carry on bags. So if you want to volunteer to check your carry on, you can do it up here and then we'll move your boarding up or whatever. And I go up to the lady because on the first two flights I've been on, they had it like as on the jet bridge where if the overhead capacity was full, they tagged it and you like dropped it at the jet bridge, you picked it up at the jet bridge. You didn't have to go to baggage claim. And so I went up and I was asking her because I was like, if I have to pick it up at the jet bridge, like maybe that won't be as bad. I mean, it wouldn't be as bad as hopefully like baggage claim. So I talked to the lady between her announcements. She was like, is it going to be a quick question? I was like, well, I hope so. And she said, all check bags would go to baggage claim. And I was like, and usually I just like kind of wing it. I just hope for the best. But I was really not trying to miss the last shuttle out of Chicago. So I talked to the lady. I'm like, I'm going to have like half an hour to get to this shuttle. Like as soon as I land, like, where do the bags go? And is there any way that I can like make sure my bag gets on the plane? And she was like, the bags will go to baggage claim, not the little jet bridge green tag. And I was like, ugh. And she was like, we'll do our best. And so they called for volunteers. A few people went up. They were in like boarding group 2. And they were like, it's looking like 15. We're going to need like 15 volunteers to check their carry-on bag because we're running out of space. And I'm like, partially kind of like not necessarily freaking out, concerned. I'm partially concerned, partially confident that I'm not going to miss the shuttle, and partially just like hoping, you know? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it is what it is. If I have to check my carry-on. So I'm boarding group 5, which is like next to last. They make the call again, someone goes up and the lady's like, I don't know why everyone doesn't check it. And usually when they make the call, I've had enough flights where like they'll check carry-ons because they're at capacity. And usually I don't have such a tight window, so I check my bag. Um, I check my carry-on. And so basically, long story short, they called up boarding group 5. Usually, again, like I kind of lag back. I don't have to be the first person to board or whatever because it doesn't matter. It kind of mattered. So I'm like standing there waiting for boarding group 5. And as soon as I like check in to board the flight, they're like, okay, like that was the last carry on. Everyone else, like, you got to check your carry on bags. There's no more space. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, thank you. I was like, maybe that's my checked carry on karma, my checked carry on good karma coming back to me. So but then I get on the plane, right? I changed my seat the night before to be like at the front again so I can get off the plane. And I get on, and again, I give my little spiel, like, I know it's like full, but like, I'm gonna have to get to this bag because I got a shuttle I gotta catch as soon as I get off this plane. And she was like, okay, like, you can go back and then like come back up, like, go back, find a spot. She was like, you may have to go back to get it. And then she like, I'll hold up the line so that you can come back up. Um, and so I was in aisle number 10. I was originally booked for aisle 40, but then I changed it to 10, and it started at like 7, I think, like 7 or 8, and then below that was like first class. I had to go all the way back to 26 to find a spot for my carry on. And then I'm thinking, like, if my carry on way back there almost defeats the purpose of me booking the seat, changing my seat all the way up here. And again, I'm like, kind of thinking about it, kind of concerned, mostly knowing it's going to work out because at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know? And so the plane leaves. My plan is to be the first person up so I can run back there, get my bag, and then come back up. Of course, there are several people that as soon as the seatbelt sign is off, they're up and they're out and they're getting their carry-ons. And I'm trying to like, I make it only like, so one person comes behind me. She's like, excuse me, because she had to put her bag. Before that, there was someone in like row 9 on the other side who had got upgraded. And he took his bag out of the carry-on, and I was just about to be like, can I go back and get my bag from 26 and put it up here? But somebody took his seat and had a carry-on that they put up there. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. It was there, and then it was gone. Um, so anyway, I get up, and there's one lady who her carry-on is behind me, so I let her grab it. And then I was like, well, let me just like follow suit, I guess. Because I was thinking, and again, in that moment, I'm like, do I like say something and make an attempt to go get my carry on so I can make the shuttle, or do I just let it play out? Usually I let it just play out and hope for the best, but I was feeling very proactive, I guess. And so I made it past one person, and then she was like, there was another lady. She was like, what are you doing? Because it's like a whole bunch of people. She ain't say it like that, but there were a whole bunch of people like standing, waiting to, deboard. Excuse me. And I was like, I got the shuttle to catch, but my bag is all the way back in 26. And then somebody in the back was just like, what color is it? And I was like, it's purple. It's a purple bag in 26 on that side. And then he just like pulled it out for me, and they just like the bag changed hands, and then they just like gave it to me. And I was like, wow, look at that, like teamwork. And then of course, like people started deboarding, and that's when minutes felt like hours. But I made it. I was like moving, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I didn't want to have to use the bathroom on the shuttle. Again, usually I'm not. Lately, I feel like I do a lot more international flights than domestic. And so I'm used to like coming into the airport and kind of leaving like different terminals. Was I flew in and out of terminal 1, and then the where the shuttle picks up is beyond terminal 5. So I'm like, I grab my bag, I'm rushing through the airport trying to like follow the signs to airport transit to the train, and I make it. And I was like, oh, if it's like 7:11, I might have enough time to use the bathroom. And so on the longest train ride ever, but the sunset was really cool. I tried to take a picture of it. It was just like this, almost like this molten, those videos with like the molten balls of like hot iron or whatever, hot metal balls that they drop into stuff and it'll sizzle. It almost looked like that. It was like this bright orange molten thing that I couldn't take a picture of, I don't think. No, I didn't get it. It was like moving and all blurry and you can't even see. It was really cool. And then I got off. I'm like rushing. I passed the bathroom. I've taken the shuttle a few times now, so I'm like I'm slightly familiar with the area to like get off the train and then make it out to the shuttle. And I was like, I know there's a bathroom, so I go to the bathroom real quick. I wash my hands, and I come out. I turn the corner, and then just as I turn the corner to like go out the door, it's like basically right there. The bus was like pulling up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you!" So I made it. I came back. By the time I made it home, it was like almost midnight, but it did end up working out that day. So maybe that was like the tranquility and peace of mind that I needed to not whatever. But again, I don't usually like speak up. I'm not. I usually also like don't have to necessarily. I don't usually cut it that close, but the plane did arrive like a little early and everything worked out. So I had a feeling like it would. I didn't feel like I would be stranded in the airport, but also at the same time, I didn't want to not put in a good faith effort. So I got 75 cents. Tails are feminine yin. Tails are feminine yang. Heads are masculine yin. Yin is masculine, right? Or is the yang masculine? Why can I not remember that now? As soon as I went to say it, I'm like, ooh, wait up. Yeah, yang is masculine. Divine yang, creative power. That's masculine. Divine yin, supportive power. I think yin is feminine. Yang is masculine. Yeah. I was all discombobulated. Yin fam. Thank you. All right. Tails yin feminine, heads yin masculine. I'll do it 2 times. I got 3/4, so I'm just gonna do that. We'll get the hexagram. I'll get a lobster. I want to do a lobster first, and then we'll just see what's up. So, long story short, I made it back and everything. That's fine. I'm at 2 people visited now. So far, 2 for 2 on Virgos. So if you're a Virgo, the odds are in your favor. That'll meet up next. Ooh. Oh, okay. We got a classic lobster appetizer. So we get to pregame the meal, which is cute. Ooh. That's a title card. Oh, there's 3 cards. We got a whole 3-course meal. The 2 of spades classic lobster appetizer makes 8 servings. A lobster bisque. Let's see. Hey Perry, how you doing? The second card is the Queen of Spades, lobster and mushroom frittata. This makes 4 servings. Someone just got up. It's about to get real. What is he? And then the third one is the King of Spades, beer steamed lobster tails. All you need is 2 whole lobster tails and a half can of beer, and it makes 2 servings. I have shuffled this repeatedly. They're all spades, which is interesting. 2 of spades, 8 of spades, King of spades. We go from 8 servings to 4 servings to 2 servings. That is a very interesting combination of letters. And if you knew, you'd know why. It's the 248, but it's 842. That's also powers of 2. 2 cubed, 2 squared, and then 2. 2 to the third power is 8. 2 to the second power is 4. 2 to the first power is 1. So the superscripts are counting down, but the base number remains the same, which is interesting. I feel like that means something. I mean, not necessarily in particular. And then I made also as a side note, I made a community post about how I think I talked about it here too earlier. We're driving down the road and it was like ding, and then it's like if you make a left, 2 minutes, whatever. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, let's just stick to the road, stick to the path that we set out on. But Eve was like, whoop. She made the turn, and I'm glad she did, because then after we made that left, it was like the next right will be on Patrick Town Road. And I'm already thinking in my mind before she like pointed out the Patrick Town Road, I'm like, oh, like that's a video idea right there. Like this shortcut is coming up. Like you're driving up and there's a shortcut. It reminded me of all like the golden doorways and the energy of the shortcuts. But then after she was like, oh, look, I was like, what? And she's like, we'll be making a right on Patrick Town Road. That's when I remembered that the Ace of Swords came out in the SKT. And I mentioned that if the crown, and then I tried to watch it back to make the clip, and the video was in and out. But anyway, I was saying I look at where the crown is on the SKT, because if it's, or I look at where the crown is on the Ace of Swords, because if it's way above the sword, it's almost like this information that we have no real context for. And so I use the example of like go left or turn left. But if you're not going anywhere, if you're not doing anything, turn left doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's absolutely no context. But then I was like, so like in 5 years, for example, if I'm driving down the street and I'm lost or whatever, do I go straight or turn left? I didn't know that like literally 3 days later, it would be like a shortcut, save 2 minutes off your drive if you turn left. And that's what we did. We turned left. It wasn't a right turn. I was like, oh my gosh. On Patrick Road, there were some cows and I saw a bull. It was very windy. Almost like me. It's like it was not a straight shot, very windy, kind of hilly in some spots. It's like I get to the point eventually. Oh, love that, Perry. It's a beautiful day. All right. So we have with a classic lobster appetizer, then we move on to a lobster mushroom frittata. We have beer steamed lobster tails. 2 of spades, 8 of spades, King of spades. The 2 plus the 8 is the 10. Spades are like swords. Oof, well, yeah. Your lobster's cooked. And then it's like the 10 of swords. This lobster is a goner. But let's see. Just like immediately off the bat, the Two of Swords for me is the minor high priestess. Card of like can be a card of being at an impasse where there are as many pros as cons, no defining definite whatever between one choice and another. The Eight of Swords is also another blindfolded card. Both of those cards are traditionally depicted as blindfolded. Both the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords. In the realm of swords, they're in like all the cards. Justice is blind. The High Priestess might have her eyes open or closed. I don't remember. I don't think she's ever blindfolded, but she might be in some decks. Right now, I think it's like Justice, the Two of Swords, and the Eight of Swords are the cards that are traditionally blindfolded. We got two of them here, but the clarity of the King of Swords. So it's almost like developing another sense outside of sight that helps you navigate with clarity and certainty. This reminds me of Tamiel. I think Angel of the Unseen or Angel of the Unseen in the Angelarium. Oh, speaking of Angelarium, or angels, I guess in particular, I could pull one of those since I'm getting the energy of Tamiel. Is it Tamriel or Tamiel? And then maybe I won't do the SKT, or I might still do the SKT. Who knows? Who knows? I do not. And I don't know. It was really nice catching up with Eve, and I feel like I'm at an intersection that I didn't necessarily personally expect to be in, where it's like I don't know. Like I said, since the new moon in Virgo, I feel like I've been in this strangely empowered space, and it's not that I expected to feel disempowered by Virgo or Virgo's new moon. Um, but I don't know. Like I had a dream the other day. This is probably gonna be a little. I'm gonna put this is probably gonna be a fairly long video with like no timestamps because there's a bunch of stuff that's been in my brain, sort of marinating as I've been like, and even Monday. So I flew out Tuesday morning at 7 whatever a.m. The earliest shuttle gets to the airport at 8 a.m. So I did an overnight at the airport. When I went to book my ticket, Eve, you made it! About to board the plane home. Yeah, and then we saw a seagull just like demolish a crab. That put me in a weird space. I was like, oh no. And then I told Eve, I was like, I want to be a wildlife chef so that I can cook all of the animals food so that they don't have to eat each other. Completely disrupt the circle of life, and vastly less animals would die because they're not being eaten by animals, and everything's overpopulated. But just so that no more crabs have to be eaten by seagulls in front of Patrick's eyes. That thing was vicious. I was like, now I understand why they have like cooked beaks. Anyway, how'd the fight go? I'm assuming it went well. How was your last day? Yeah, and the food was like so good. It was a little hilly. Prosecco and chocolate cake on a balcony. I can't open these. I don't like to use scissors or blades when I'm cutting the plastic off of a new deck. I was just telling a bunch of stuff about how we turned left and then got on Patrick Town Road. Yeah. I was showing my grandma. I had lunch. I had breakfast with my grandma today, and I was showing her some of the pictures. And I took a picture of the plaque by the Next Bridge Observatory that had the bald eagle on it. And then you actually saw a bald eagle in real life. Do you remember the name of that like second camper RV thing that we were behind? I know the first one was Tranquility, but I can't remember what the second one was. I feel like it started with the letter P or an R. It was either a P or an R, but I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh, is this a title card? It is a title card. We got 2 title cards in here. Also, was it Pleasant? I know we turned on Pleasant Street or like Pleasant Drive or something like that. I knew it wasn't like relaxation. I don't remember. Yeah. Definitely not on the daily. I did get my seagull fixed though. I'm good on seagulls for life. Every time I see a crab or a seagull, I'm like, let me show you the state of um oh, okay. Well, have a safe last leg. I enjoyed my time so much. The days or day the days were full but short feeling. Let's see. It would be a lot easier if I just did this and didn't just scroll through one by one. We saw the sunrise. It was gorgeous. There's a picture of the sun rising. None of this is picking up. This is the aftermath of what the seagull did to the crab. Like, I was partially horrified and just I was like, wow, this is real life. This is the animal kingdom. Oh, safe travels. Oh my gosh. So I'm using the Eve, the lovely and ever wonderful long mystic, gifted me the Notoria because she had gotten 2 copies on accident. And so because I mentioned Tamiel or Tamriel, Angel of the Unseen, I was like, oh, I have a new angel deck because I don't have my Angelarium. And I'm shuffling and I cut the deck to the King of Swords. And the King of Spades is right here. This is, oh my gosh, what? They got Moon and Virgo on this card. You see that? Moon and Virgo on the King of Swords, and I was talking about this Virgo moon. On the other side of the cut is this is 32 and 39. Raphael. No, excuse me. Rahael, the Tower, Mercury and Libra. The Tower and this King of Swords. Now the King of Swords is the Archangel Commander as well. Let's see what the little book has to say about 32 Vasaraya. Vasaraya, the just God. This angel infuses compassion, understanding, and justice, allowing a pure and honest impulse to manifest itself in the material world with rationality and untamed will, giving us a way to occupy the space we deserve in the world and society. Excessive stubbornness shakes our objectivity and partiality, inviting vices, perversions, and insinuations. It's a Six of Swords association with the esoteric, but it's on the King of Swords. Interesting. 2 minus 8 is 6. Excuse me. So I had a dream, and it was a dream that I remembered. I was like, am I going to log it in the dream journal? First, I was like, no, but then I ended up logging it because I was like, why not? I had a dream that I was with a friend that I haven't seen in a long time, probably over 13 years, since high school graduation. Her name is Summer. And for some reason, like, people were going after Summer. Like there was a bounty on her head or something. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere. And then I'm like, no one is going to lay a finger on my friend. So no one did. um, there were many who gathered, several who were foolish enough to try. Um, but then I was like trying to like piece something together or trying to figure something out. And I was looking at like a sheet of paper and I feel like I had found something and I was like writing a note that I was going to slip. So at first I was like, I found a safe room, a safe place for Summer to go. And so I put her behind the door and then I watched the door. I guarded the door and stopped anybody who would like try to go in there. I was like, I don't care how much anybody, whoever is paying, you're not going to lay a finger on my friend. It's not going to happen. So I was gonna slip it under the door because I didn't want to open the door. And then somebody like pulled me into the room, and it was there was like a group of people that were there, and they were like, "What are you doing? You're ruining it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And there was something about, I don't know what it was supposed to do or who was supposed to come out of hiding to try to catch Summer or what was supposed to be revealed, but I guess I was interrupting things because I was guarding the door a little too well. And they were like, yeah, like, and I'm like, if you, if something is like happening to one of my friends, like, what else do you expect me to do? Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, if people were coming after your friend, would you just like let them? So that was the beginning of the dream. I was like, oh, maybe I'm on here like doing too much. We all have our own lives and paths and guardians. I meant to, I, don't know, I didn't mean to say the word guardians, but it came out of my mouth. We all have our own lives, paths, and journeys, maybe I was going to say, but we also have our own guardians, right? And there are things that we're meant to go through in life. And maybe there are things that, conclusions that we're meant to arrive at on our own, or pathways and journeyways that um, I may not necessarily speak to. And so, um, whatever. It was basically like, get out of the way. And I was like, okay. And then I had another dream. I told Eve about it. And I think, excuse me, I think Eve was the only person. I told my mom about the first part of the dream. I don't think I told her about the second part. I told Eve about the second part of my dream. Um, and part, that part of my dream it was interesting because characters and challenges from previous streams, it was like one of the characters wasn't necessarily a challenge, but I wasn't trying to run into him in the dream. I wasn't trying to be around when whatever happened. I was like, I need to put some space between me and whatever's about to go down here. And I had like, I was in this room and it was some like training thing, something almost like military associated. And they're like, yeah, like for the first day or whatever, like you can't eat anything. And that's when I was like, hold up. I didn't sign up for this. I ain't signed up for this. I didn't volunteer for this. I don't even know why I'm here. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm already hungry because I didn't eat before I ended up wherever I'm at now. And you're telling me I'd have to go a whole day without food. I was like, I'm out of here. I didn't sign anything. I am not obligated to be here. You can't keep me here. And as soon as I was about to go out the door, my danger senses started tingling. And I was like, oh crap, something's coming. So there was like this commander guy. It was almost like it almost like resembled a judge thing. Like he was a judge. But also like the chief military person in the room. I don't know. Um, but I was like requesting permission to uh, basically have a word with the guy. And then they granted me permission. And I was like, I don't know what's about to happen, but my danger senses just kicked in. I feel like something is about to go down. And so then, of course, I didn't leave. But that's when, like, there was a wall of wind as one of the things. There were like alcoves in the room, and people were standing in the alcove. And then there was this wall of wind that would like protect them from whatever was coming. And after I woke up, I remembered that I had another dream in a not necessarily entirely dissimilar looking space. But wind was like one of the obstacles or challenges. Like there was this really strong wind. There were like there was this glass. I was going to say invisible glass, but most glass is see through. And there were holes in it that like this wind would blow through. And that the wind was so strong it would just like obliterate anything. So we had to position ourselves within basically this glass enclosure with the holes in it to not be shredded by the wind. And so it was interesting now that like this wall of wind was a protective feature in this stream. It was like protecting the people from whatever was about to enter the room or had entered the room, from it protected them from that. And then there was a character that was asked for, and the first and only time I saw that character, I was like, I don't want to be. Whenever they arrive and do whatever they gotta do to rectify the situation, whatever karma, whatever is going down here, Patrick is not involved. So I'm like trying to book it. I'm like, I don't want to be here when they arrive because I could feel, and again, it was very similar to that dream almost, where I could just feel like something coming, like something is about to happen. And my like my GTFO sense was kicking off, but then I was like, I can't just leave and not warn these people that this is going on or whatever. And I think in that room, it was it was the way I entered the room, and it was the way that I was planning on exiting. I don't know if there were other entrances and exits. But in the dream, the time between me like finishing my warning to the person and like being in the next scene where stuff is going down, there wasn't a bunch of time. But they were like, whoever, so the first wave came and it was relatively, it didn't take long. And then something else came after. And that thing was like, oh, I wanna go face this whoever. Like I'm gonna go face this whoever, whatever. And this time, but again, like even in the first dream, it was a protective thing, I guess. It was wild. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was wild. Um, but yeah, it was just the fact that like what was an obstacle or a challenge in like a previous dream had now become like a gift, power, skill, ability, a protective feature, whatever. It was like that difference that was interesting. But woo! But apparently, it ain't Patrick's business. Something was happening, something was going down, and Patrick was ruining it by trying to protect his friend. So, but we're all adults. We're all that we claim to be. So, whatever we got coming for us, and it's not all bad. Um, but yeah, I was messing things up, and again, I don't even remember specifically why. I spent the first majority of the dream like protecting, and then I was like, well, let me figure out like why this is going on in the first place. Um, yeah, and then it wasn't New Moon Virgo. I don't remember if it was one of those pick three or four pile things, but there was an energy of like how we sometimes can do too much for others to the point where they don't learn whatever is for them to learn, or they don't get whatever they're supposed to get from a situation. So if we were facing like a challenge or difficulty while someone that we know, love, or care about is in a time of need, then maybe we're going through whatever we're going through to allow them to go through what they need to go through. Because it's almost like if we had the availability and the resources, we would do or solve something for someone that it's a rite of passage, I guess, for them to go through it and grow and evolve on their own. So yeah, I don't know, it was a strange dream. And then I had other dreams. I had a dream last night. I don't even remember. Oh, I kind of remember it now. I don't know, it's so interesting. Anyway, Two of Swords, Eight of Swords. The Two of Swords, Eight of Swords is honestly very similar to that Six of Wands, Ace of Cups. Was it that? Six of Wands, Ace of Cups. I don't even remember all the cards, but it was I think I titled it What We Needed and Found, because was it the Four of Cups and the Hermit in reverse or something like that? It's the last live I did, I'm pretty sure. What you found What you found but no longer need leads to what you need but would never find. Um, because it's like there's a comfortability in the Two of Swords where she's just like sitting. And with the Eight of Swords, I feel like in most depictions of the Eight of Swords that I see, the distress is almost implied. Like it's implied by the meaning of the card and it's implied by the visual of like being blindfolded and bound in the middle of a field of swords or whatever. But if I think on like the countenance of the person in the card, I don't think I've seen too many that are as distressed as the keywords and meanings make it seem. And maybe this plays up on that tranquility. And it's something about, again, like not needing to see, which could be the development of another sense. It could be a strong intuition, discernment. and a strong, like, practiced intuition and discernment. I think sometimes we can have a strong intuition or discernment and not necessarily abide by whatever it's like telling us or guiding us to. But in doing that, again, we end up at some kind of clarity with this King of Swords energy. Now, because of Vasariah, we know that there's a justice associated with this King of Swords too. The Two of Swords is the appetizer. With the Two of Swords being an appetizer, it's almost a test from the divine of like almost like a test of your faith, a test of faith, a test of will. Like, how long can you sit and be still or be at peace? How long can you be guided and navigated by your intuition, discernment, sign, symbol, synchronicity, and not need an immediate payoff? How long until you need to, like, before you need to know, you need an answer and you have to rip the blindfold off? Now, between the frittata and the lobster tails, I don't know. Because to me, like, I don't even know if I know what a frittata is really. Because I think like some kind of like, when I think frittata, I don't think like a meal, but also like I am a fairly big dude. It's an Italian dish that translates to fried. Cool. Like, yeah, I guess a frittata could be a meal. Like, is this a meal or is this an appetizer? Right? Or is this like a little something you eat on the side? I don't know. But a lobster tail, like, is that an appetizer or is that the whole meal? I don't know. Maybe it's like both of these are the meal. Anyway, first is the lobster frittata. Lobster versus the lobster frittata. Lobster and mushroom. So some of the ingredients: lobster, butter, heavy cream, lemon juice, parsley, parmesan cheese, Gruyere cheese, cubed Gruyere cheese, salt and pepper to taste, olive oil, basil, eggs, and mushrooms. That's like all the ingredients. And then again, lobster tails is like lobster tails in a can of beer. So maybe this is like when it's the Eight of Swords, there are so many ingredients that it implies a certain amount of complexity. But at the King of Swords, with all of its like clarity, there's only two ingredients. You only need two things to make beer steamed lobster tails and beer. You know, so it's almost like this King of Swords energy feels like it's almost one of what's the word for like it's developed. It's almost like if you do well enough at the Two of Swords, where you can't see, and if you can hold your peace and tranquility in the Two of Swords, and then you go into the Eight of Swords with all of this like chaos, all of this stuff, all of this noise going on, if you can still keep the blindfold on, and even between the swords or however perilous or dangerous the environment may be, if you can still navigate and again, not need to know everything or not need to pull the blindfold from your eyes, it's almost like you become really adept at navigating situations without needing to see. So it's almost like you learn how to like cut through the noise and you learn how to different. And again, it's just like it's this feeling of building up another sense to the point where you don't need sight, where you don't have to rely on your eyesight as much. And that's why it feels like the King of Swords, it's so simple. The recipe is so simple because you've already, it's like by that point, you've mastered it. You've gotten accustomed to it. Cool. And maybe that's something coming up. Maybe it's for summer to whatever, girl. I don't know. So first we got tails, tails, heads. So that is a yen. Oop. That's a yen, and I dropped the third quarter. Now I got two heads. Well, two heads is going to be a yang, regardless. But we don't know if it's going to be a divine yang, a yang that turns into yin. Where did this coin go? Oh, wait, I'm doing this the wrong way. Oh, it's three heads. It landed on heads. Oh, crap. I'm doing this the long way. I thought I was doing it the short way. That's fine. Just give me a pen. Ugh. I haven't used a mechanical pencil in a while. Or this little notepad. Housing and food services. Okay. So we got yen. Oh. There's only an itty bit of lead in there. So like as soon as I try to write, the lead gets sucked back up into the pencil. There is yin. And then this divine yang. I thought I was going to do it like every line is a different whatever. So it would have been like yin, yin, yang, 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 yang. But oh well. We got the same heads, tails, tails. We got tails, tails, tails. So that's a divine yin. We got heads, tails, tails. Another yin. And then last but not least, we got heads, tails, heads. So a yang. So this is that thunder? That turns into so it's almost like, oh, that's not great. But it's almost like this line. Like that's okay, I guess it's like that. From the bottom to the top. It's like this line. Oh, fingers. This line is moving up. So it goes from on both sides, there's a solid line at the top. But the solid line goes from the fifth line up to the third line. Cool. I never plans very rarely what I'm doing. If you need the man with a plan, I'm not your guy. I'm able to plan some things. When I find out what those things are, I'll let you know. So this is, I don't know if that's like thunder. No, that's not thunder. Or like mountain. I should have known that was mountain. This is mountain over water. Yes, mountain over water. Mountain over water is I Ching number 4. Inexperience. Oof. And then that's earth. Fire over earth, I'm pretty sure. Yep, solid is fire, and then broken is earth. Fire over earth is I Ching number 35, advancement. See, look at that. We go from inexperience to advancement just like that. 435. 435 is, well, it goes from 4 to 35, which is interesting because it's almost like it's able to go before and after. I don't know if it's like it's able to get a certain kind of context or something, but maybe that's why Patrick needs the BTFU, you know? So that advancement could happen. All right, I kind of want one of these. I'm going to turn it face up so I can get one face down. I'm only going to take it if it falls out face down. So, or if it turns over. I know I'm being all particular or whatever today, but hey, this is what we're doing. These are the rules today. And two, like, because that Two of Swords was the appetizer, because it's the introduction to the meal. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Holly. It was that energy again of like becoming a master of something. By the time it's the King of Swords, like we won't need pretty much anything. We learn to rely on our intuition and discernment to guide us through life without needing so much physical concrete proof and being overly directed or whatever. Was that a card back? No, it was not. That's the advancement. Oh, one flipped over, face down. Thank you. Bottom of the deck is number 60, the Seven of Cups, meets Rael. They're like holding up this cup. I don't know if this is also reflective of that process of like being blind, because like holding this cup up almost like behind them, but just like holding it up and not looking. It's not, it's like it's able to hold it up to collect something without looking, without checking if anything is falling. It's like if you set out a thing. I don't know. And it's like you don't have to check it every 5 minutes to see if you've collected anything. So this I Ching, I'm pretty sure I know what number 4 is. The uh, divination does not seek out the inexperienced fool. The inexperienced fool seeks out divination. Inexperienced naivete. I feel like naivete and naivety came out, and maybe the well known. Was it an archetype or was it the alchemy? I don't remember. You are focused on the wrong inquiry. Divination does not seek out the inexperienced fool. The inexperienced fool seeks out divination. The divination here shall give no further information unless the inexperienced fool can return with the proper sincerity. You must find the right teacher to learn the right attitude. Be aware of your inexperience. Ignorance is pervasive, yet to err is not evil, it is naivete, and a result of inexperience. Do not seek out divination again until you have mastered the teaching. So I don't know if these equate to like, because again, it was this movement of the solid line from maybe this line that the line that is always broken to the line that is always solid. And from 4 to 35, how it went from like the fifth position to the third position, like the gap between the divine yin and the divine yang is closing, but we have to be in divine yang to like close that gap. Or it's like all of these lines are going to go from solid to broken, but it's going to move up like a solid line at a time. Because this immediately came out as 35, which is advancement. So within the space of this, we're going from the inexperienced fool. Maybe that's how it like unfolds too. And maybe that's another thing with the Two of Swords, or when we're in the position of the Two of Swords or the Eight of Swords. When we're going through certain situations in life, it becomes very difficult to ask the right questions or focus on the right things, quote unquote, because there's the immediate situation that we're in. Progress, advancement. The sage's nature is inherently good, and so as pure light shines on the sage, that nature is illuminated brighter and brighter, ever more illustrious and virtuous. Earth had darkened the sage's nature, but with the dawn of light there is purification. You are the sage, and you are inherently good. However, in the past, the material world affected you and darkened your nature. Now rays of light kindle you, and your nature is being purified. As you advance in your endeavor, bestow generosity on those seated above you. By appeasing those above you, they welcome your rise. And this is fire over earth. We went from mountain over water to fire over earth. Cool. You are getting back to your illuminated, virtuous, and illustrious nature, sage. You have ventured through the darkened material realm. But again, it's that like whenever we're going through certain situations in life, it becomes hard to ask the right questions because of our immediate situation, circumstance, and environment. This is, and like it mentioned the sage, we're dealing with the King of Swords, you know? Cool. I want to get some SKTs. We have Herald of the Waters and Apocalypse at the cut. Apocalypse is associated with fire, and here's the Herald of the Waters. It's almost like The herald of the waters can bring enough water to quench the fires of apocalypse. Almost where it's like apocalypse avoided. Cool. We have the archangel of healing. I'll take out the cards that are face down before and after her. And then we also have the pugilist. Bottom of the deck is wish granted, Jupiter and Pisces, the nine of chalices. Looks like there are 4 scrolls in one of these cups. There's 4 scrolls in one cup. There. This goddess question mark is throwing out the coins. Her throwing out the coins reminds me of the 6 of coins. And then there's this like temple in the back. Again, it's like it's crossing the waters almost. Oh, and that's interesting because it moved from the 5th line to the 3rd line. It moved from the 5th line to the 3rd line. And both those are like the outside of 4. Because it's from hexagram 4 to hexagram 35. Anyway, so the pugilist came out first, which is this crossroads. With this new sense, it's almost giving me this crossroads is the exact reason why we have been guided, instructed, discerning, or why the readings, I guess, are coming out more and more and more of like becoming reacquainted with not seeing. Like maybe there was a point in time where the divine had to prove itself in some way to us. And so there were a lot of things that we were wizened to. There were a lot of things that were illuminated to us. There were ways that our intuition and discernment was validated because we had to reach a point where we can trust it. Ultimately, we have to reach a point where we can follow it. Right. And whether us following our intuition discernment is full like trust or whatever. Sometimes you can follow your intuition discernment and not necessarily trust it. Right. You can have your worries, your concerns, your doubts and fears, but do it anyway, because that's what your discernment, your intuition is telling you to do. Sometimes you have to be able to trust it completely, fully, 100% in order to follow it. And so there, again, there may be a point in time where like you're getting a lot of synchronicities where it may be like it can go from small stuff to big stuff to get you to trust again that feeling, that voice inside of you. And again, it's like this is the reason why you have to trust that voice, because there are 2 paths here on this crossroads. And it's like, do you approach from this way? I get all mixed up. Do you approach from this way and then go back out that way? Do you approach from this way and continue straight? Or like vice versa? There are 2 paths that will take you to this meeting point, and then it diverges in 2 different directions. But it feels like none of these paths are the right path for you. It's a path that isn't paved. Oh, Eve brought that up. Because she was like, there's a word for like when animals and people for the well-traveled path. She was like, there's a word for the well-traveled path that isn't necessarily the one that's paved. but maybe it's like a well traveled, energetic path. Like there's a lot of focus, potential, energy, manifestation, whatever, a lot of energetic potential that is heading in a certain direction that is not paved or is not talked about or whatever. Only your intuition and discernment will have you walk in a certain direction that then you could, in hindsight, maybe turn around and look back and say, like, oh, like that's the path I've been carving. Or maybe there'll be other things that you notice along the way that is like, oh, like this is the path. But again, it doesn't feel like it's not that it can't be seen. It mostly just feels like it won't be seen. And I don't know if it's because of the environment, if it's because of how we grew up, our mindset. I don't know if it's because like it hasn't been created yet and you are a trailblazer who will do whatever. Or if it's not like in public knowledge yet or whatever. The divine knows. And if you're meant to be there, the divine will guide you. Which is again, it's like you have to go beyond the Two of Swords and beyond the Eight of Swords and be comfortable with not knowing, be comfortable with not seeing. Again, it feels like before we get to that point, the universe, the divine does its best to validate our intuition and discernment to us and get us to trust it. But again, there are some things that can't be validated until it's like it doesn't happen until it happens. And maybe it's like it happens in this one point at this one specific time, not necessarily extremely frequently. But again, your intuition, discernment, your legs will guide you where you need to go. Now, before and after this, we have this is a 369 or a 693. The Six of Swords, the Quester, which is Mercury in Aquarius. And then we have Mercury in Cancer with the Three of Chalices, the Kindred. And again, I love that after this, there are three people here because it's like the third option that wasn't present here. But your intuition, these are empresses. This is hydromancy, getting a vision prophecy, like water scrying, basically. And then this also navigates like water. But that the quester is holding universal Mercury. With universal Mercury, it has like a bird's eye view of a situation. It has a bird's eye view of things. It can see things that we don't see from the ground level. And so it knows that, for example, while this one path is easy, there's like a drop off in 5 miles, or there's a sharp turn, or it gets a lot harder, a lot further down the road. But on this path that initially looks more challenging, it smooths out and it becomes this like really easy journey or whatever. It could be easier because by the time you reach this point, your body has adapted to it. You're not struggling and out of breath and whatever as when you first started, because as you keep going again, you build up tolerance and resistance. That's just to say that, it may not necessarily get easier because it gets easier. It may get easier because you get used to it. Just like this 2-8 King of Swords. At the King of Swords, it feels like you just get used to it. Now, the other card is the Archangel of Healing, which in the Vitruvian edition is my STFU BTFU Mind Your Business Queen. So the importance to me of a title card and of an STFU BTFU Mind Your Business card is sometimes it's important for us to not know certain things because either we don't have the context to understand how it works out, we don't have the capacity to bear or to do what it is that we're going to endure or do later or for whatever reason. And it's like if we know anything about what is to come because of who we are now, we will completely misunderstand it, we'll misread it, and we are like infinitely more likely to make several mistakes or to have incorrect viewpoint to the point where like we don't go down that path, or we don't make this choice, we don't make this decision, whatever. But again, it's like when you know, or when you get there, you will know. It's almost like the curse of premonition, prophecy, divination, of knowing. When you know something before you know why, right? And so again, like that's why it's important to just like live your life, mind your business. It'll make sense when it makes sense. To her right is the destroyer, Ten of Swords. So it's funny that we have the 8 - 2 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. That's the first card, the card to the left of the pugilist. And then the card to the right is the 10 of Swords, which is the 2 plus the 8 of Swords. After the Archangel of Healing is the destroyer. Before it is the Hierophant, master of the arcanes. And then again, there's the Archangel of Healing. What's interesting here is this master of the arcanes, Hierophant energy. This is someone who was like very knowledgeable. This is someone who it's like has all of the information. But the 10 of Swords is the one who, beyond just embodying that knowledge and information, they navigate the world with that knowledge and information like active. So there's this one person, and you can see her 2 hands, right? And the 2 pairs of hands behind her represent like her not astral, like her energetic hands, like her energy, you know. There's what she does in the physical, and then there's what she's capable of in the spirit. And then there's this play in between the two. There's what she does in the physical that influences, affects, that interacts with the spirit. And then there's what she does in the spirit that interacts with the physical. And again, it's like after the cleansing of this vessel, sanctum of the immaculate, after the vessel is made clean, pure, immaculate. And it's not necessarily purity in terms of something like chastity or like like being vegan and never swearing and like living the perfect life. It's purity in terms of like who one was created to be, more so than how one is supposed to act. And again, like before that, this is just like knowledge, this is information, this is being able to like talk about it, this is being able to communicate about it. Maybe in the spiritual, there's a whole lot of like spiritual knowledge, but it isn't necessarily spiritual knowledge that is being used in a way that impacts the physical or someone's life. It's almost like, as a metaphor, if someone's life is like, you could say like their life is a mess, quote unquote, but they're so knowledgeable. They have all this information, they have like all the tips and tricks and everything else, but their life still looks like what their life looks like. And again, this is the 2-8 King of Swords. So someone's life looking one way is no bearing on like who they are, how they are, and like how far along they are. Because this is all about real life, the 3D circumstances not needing to match the vision, what you know, what you believe, what your intuition and discernment is telling you. This is literally all about that. So it's not, it's like sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't an indicator. But again, it's just like having all of the knowledge. Sometimes we can have a whole bunch of knowledge and feel that we are whatever. But without a practical application of that knowledge, or without a practical need for that knowledge, it's like, what good is it if it's not like doing anything? And again, it's not that it necessarily has to, but this is the card where it is doing something. This is the person that has integrated the divine into their spirit and who is doing all the stuff that they're doing. Okay. That's what this is. On the other side of that, Archangel of Healing. Cool. Now our face down angel is the moon. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm gonna have to read the book because I don't know how to pronounce this. This is so interesting. Is she still at the bottom of the deck? So remember how in the Seven of Cups, she was just holding the cup up and she didn't need to look in it. She didn't need to see if she had collected anything, because again, this is still in that, this is in the process of advancement. This is where maybe like after she's learned to trust her intuition, now she's navigating by this trusted intuition and discernment that she need not a physical immediate indicator, synchronicity, whatever validator of. Because at this point, again, she knows. So this is more like in the Eight of Swords, probably get into the King of Swords, where she could hold it up, know that she'll be provided for, and not have to constantly be looking and worrying. The card at the bottom of the deck is like when she reaches this point where it's like, because the cup is there, she's like looking at it or facing it, but her eyes are all like, it's like this, there's this spiritual presence here. That in like Dragon Ball Z, when they power up or whatever, it's like blowing her hair back and her eyes have turned white. This is like Avatar state. And then you see the shadow of the crow behind her. Well, the beak of the crow. Yeah, you see the crow. There's a crow up there. But like that's her in her Avatar state. This would kind of sort of be the Avatar state. Because it's like when the arms are out, it's active. This is her actively doing something. I don't know. I'm just like the comparison between these two. Oh. So I was focused on her and like how she was looking. Like her being like you know, when Storm is using her powers, or when the Avatar is in the Avatar state. But there's like this hand reaching up out of the water, and she's in this partition section off part of the water. And I almost wonder if this is the connection here. Like this is how they would appear in the physical world. But it's like while their hands are held, it gives the destroyer the ability to do on earth as heaven will have made it done. If that makes sense. Like when they're holding hands, that's when it's super like as above, so below. But the below is being made to represent the above. It's like they're connected. They're turned on. Now, if this is like you and your higher self, like this is when you're connected to your higher self and you're acting in that authority that it grants. Girl, I don't know that it grants you, but it's like it's that kind of energy. It's like the circuit is closed, the switch is flipped. Like when they're not holding hands, it's this open circuit, and with an open circuit, like the wiring could be right, like the power could be connected, everything can be connected. But if the circuit is open, there's not enough, you get no current. But like when you close the circuit, that's when it's like, and then boom, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, So yeah, that's this. Again, I don't know how I'm going to use these. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll come up with some kind of way to use them. Your lobster's cooked. And also, the lobster appears in the moon card. I've actually just seen the lobster in the moon card in the Fable Makers. In the Fable Makers animated tarot. Let's see. I'm going to pull before and after the moon over here. And we'll read the deck dungeon challenges because why not? But again, it's like, I don't know if it's because of the scope and scale of how things are going to happen on Earth or the scope and scale of what things need to happen. But again, this is like a divine led path to all of the things that are like promised, you know, because with all of the miracles that like Jesus did, he was like, all that I've done and more, like you're capable, we are capable of everything, like all of those miracles and more. And this is like the divine is leading us in our own ways to where we need to be first and foremost, but also like in how to connect in those very powerful ways to do whatever is going to be done. And again, Patrick don't know anything. Patrick just is blindfolded as everybody else. But I guess I have, again, I feel like that's very reflective of my own journey. And maybe that's why I'm reading it. Maybe it's all just me projecting. Um, of like just knowing when to trust my intuition and discernment. Because pathways will open up that you have no. See you later, Perry. No problem. Um, Pathways will open up that you have no clue about. You'll like be in the right place at the right time, just like randomly. Sometimes the coincidences are more synchronistically. Oh no! Look at the Emperor. He's shedding. The little plastic protectors are coming up. Yeah, it's definitely time to order those. I know I say it like all the time. Look at this. The Two of Swords is with the Nine of Wands. We literally have that. Well, the Two of Spades and the Pugilist is the Nine of Wands. They're together here. You can see she's blindfolded. He's pulled the blindfold up. So, again, there is no blindfold in this Nine of Wands in particular. Technically, that's a head wrap. It's not a blindfold. But here the question is like, how long can you go without needing to pull the blindfold up, without needing to see, without needing to know everything? And this Nine of Wands is almost like one that kind of maybe quit a little too early. Because it's like pulled up and then it's like all battered, bruised, and all the battering and all the bruising. Here's the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is in between the Ace of Coins and the Two of Wands. Ace of Pentacles and the Two of Wands is what the Eight of Swords is in between. And again, she's blindfolded. Just like in there. I don't think the moon is on this side. It is not. So the moon must be on the other half. But we saw both the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords on that half. I can't remember if there's a blind justice in this deck or not, honestly. I'm too cold. Here's the moon. The moon is in between the Three of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. And then the Nine of Cups is before that Wheel of Fortune. Just like we have the Nine of Cups here. Under the Nine of Cups is the Seeker. Under the Seeker is the Outlaw. Oops, hold up. And then there's another Three of Wands. The Politic is under the Outlaw. Interesting. Because again, we have this Three of Wands right here. See, even this, it's like the path to this wish fulfillment, because of the Seeker and the Outlaw, it's like there's a reason why we don't see it. The Five of Wands is before the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, the Moon, the Wheel of Fortune. And again, this is like that right time, right place. And it's like, because there is movement, you can tell there's movement. Well, maybe not. One foot is in front of the other, and it implies a certain movement. Like, he's just walking up to Cliff's Edge, or they are just walking up to Cliff's Edge as this image is taken. And then it's like at that same time, something happens. Like they arrive at right time, right place, guided, their steps guided by their intuition, discernment. There you see the lobster in the moon card. The moon, which is associated with the not knowing of the night and darkness and other things, but it's associated too with those things. It's like you develop night vision or something. So cool. We're going to get funnel cards and then shut this down. And I don't know. This seems to be the message a lot as of late. And I'm cool with that. Oh. Where did it go? Who was it? The King of Swords then fell on the table. King of Swords then fell on the floor. I think, I can't remember if that's the bell that chimes out into the universe, bringing the tangible and intangible into harmony. I think it's the King of Swords. We could do some a little Lenormanding. Lenormand. Let's see. Lenormand playing cards. Card list. Lenormand card list. There we go. We're looking for the Eight of Swords and the King of Swords because the Two of Swords is too low. That's not helpful. This is not helpful. I need you ordered by the... Are you helpful? Yes. No, this is not helpful either. Crap. Here we go. This is more helpful. Clubs, diamonds, spades. Eight of Spades is the garden. There were so many cute gardens. Well, there was the secret garden. That was really cute. Also, just like lots of cute like trees, plants. So that's the garden and the lily. Wow, the lily in the garden. Interesting. The lily in the garden. We went to breakfast. There was this one lady. Everyone was so nice too. She was like, "Oh, we heard there's a secret garden." Yeah, and because advancement, like, again, we've seen it literally from just flipping the quarters or from shaking the quarters. We've seen it go from the inexperienced to progress advancement, from naivete to progress advancement. And what this looks like when it uh, blossoms into mastery, who knows? Cool. We're going to final card here. Final card, please. That was real quick. I'll take it. Thank you. And it is the Waters of Apocalypse. Or the Waters of Apocalypse. It's Apocalypse. Last Judgment. Bottom of the deck is the Archangel of Glory, Angel of Art and Grace. Under that Archangel of Art and Grace, we have the Mason and the Angel. The Mason is the Three of Pentacles. The Angel is Temperance. There you go. And then the New World Order. New World Order, or the world, is behind that angel. So the angel is looking at, one side is facing the New World Order. The other side is facing the Mason, that Three of Pentacles. This Three of Pentacles is all about building. Now here, interestingly, the construction is complete. In the Vitruvian edition, it's like they're just starting to build. But here it's complete. But it's almost like, what good is building all of the houses, all of the properties, all of the functions, if there is no one there to inhabit it? It reminds me of that thing I would see on Tumblr back in the day, when it was like, scientists remind everyone that clean energy is ready to go whenever. Like the knowledge. And I feel like it's a very interesting twist on the events of 2020. I guess just like flying off the cuff. I think it's a very interesting twist on the events of 2020. If we decentralize all of the beliefs behind it, but in this way of like, there's certain knowledge, information, and technology that has been available. It's been researched, it's been proven, but in order to keep things on a certain pace, or in order to honestly stagnate things, none of that information, knowledge, none of those techniques are being used. And so, again, decentralized, it's almost like there is this apocalypse. Apocalypse, Last Judgment was the card that came out. There is this thing that is so big, so drastic, that all of that was being withheld, that was being kept, now has to be used. Right? It's like if you save your best china for your most esteemed of guests or whatever, and someone's coming over, and in some freak accident, maybe there was an earthquake, all of your dishes broke except for the good china. So now you have to put out the good china because everything else is broken. Again, it's that like something is ready, something is already there. But with the way that the natural world works, we would not naturally be guided. We wouldn't naturally find it because there's an interest in us not. But again, your intuition and your discernment will tell you what's there. And maybe the divine is aligning some kind of circumstance that's like, it's like that now or never type of energy. It's like either now you will come together as one collective global humanity that cares about another, or this is the moment where you like let each other out. Metaphorically, of course. All right, Notoria, final angel, please. Because I gotta make it to Duncan, even though I've had Duncan. I don't know why I was so excited about Duncan, as if I didn't have Duncan while I was going. It's just like on my in-town list of things to do now, I guess. Cool, there we go. But also, again, am I gonna? No, I'm not gonna do the cards before and after. There's also been the energy of like the ambush that lies in wait on the path that we're not going to take because we are no longer inexperienced, because we have progressed. There are certain pitfalls that we're not going to fall into. There are certain things that we can just like completely avoid. Certain towers and storms, right? So the Ten of Pentacles associated with Saturn and Gemini is at the bottom of the deck, which is gorgeous. It's Kaliel, number 18, or the 18th Sephira, or whatever it's called. I don't know. And the card that came out is the Three of Cups, Asalia or Asalaya. There's almost this like, oh, there's almost several Caduceuses. Caducei. There's like the main one right there. Am I going to read them? Sure. It was the Three of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, I don't know what numbers they were. I know one of them is number 10. The other one is 47. 10 and 11, because 4 plus 7 is 11. We'll do 10. Oh my gosh! 1 second. L O L O L O L O L O L L O L O L L O L O L O L O L O L L O L O L O O L. Cool. 47. They don't do the pronunciations here. Oh, I thought they did. Is it up here? I thought I saw them somewhere, but I guess not. No pronunciation guide? Yeah, just butcher the names of these angels. That's fine. They don't care. All right. Asalia, the just and true God. Asalia holds his left hand over our heart, actively conveying our desires and wishes, materializing them with precision. The universe will always look for a way to manifest the strong spiritual impulse that arises in us when truth and righteousness move it. For this, it must be externalized and communicated. When, on the other hand, our emotional self holds this impulse captive, abnormal and wearisome situations will arise in us, capable of degenerating into dangerous and deceptive ideas or false and dishonest behavior. Attributes number 47, it's in the virtues, Three of Cups, Mercury, Scorpio, and esoterically the Three of Cups. So it is exactly where it's Tarot Association and it's Esoterica align. Now we go to number 10. 10, 10, 10 for the win, win, win. 10, 10, 10. Okay. Aladaya, the propitious. Nope. The propitious or yeah, is that how you? I've never seen that word before. Hey Google. Hey Google. Define propitious.
According to Merriam-Webster, propitious. Adjective. Propitious propitious. 1. Giving favorable signs of the success of something to come. Promising.
Oh, giving favorable signs of the success of something to come. It is propitious. I was like, ooh, the propitious God. So, Aladia or Aladaya instills in us a divine grace that surpasses mercy, making us innocent without first requiring repentance or a change of attitude. Once we receive this grace, changes will arise spontaneously, enabling us to forgive ourselves first and then others. Unless we fall into the same mistake, which would inevitably lead to moral and physical neglect and general disinterest or abandonment, this cherub will confer fruitful and stable success, harmony, concord, and crowned and fulfilling fidelity. So it's attributed to the number 10. It belongs to the cherubim. The King of Cups is its tarot correspondence. The Two of Cups is the esoterica, and Sagittarius and Saturn. Not Sagittarius, sorry. Saturn and Taurus are the planet and sign that it's associated with. Cool. Love that. Propitious. Yes. So maybe that's just like a little nod from the, like, there isn't going to be anything, right? It will be like your intuition discernment will be validated in ways, but it just may not be the full, I guess, manifestation of whatever it is that you think as soon as you know, want it or whatever. It's always on time. I am going to get a final lobster. All right. We're going to get exactly one of these. Unless, like, two of them flip over. Oh. The Nine of Swords. All of the spades. Nine of Spades. This is lobster mashed potatoes martinis? So is this mashed potatoes or a martini? Because I can get down with some mashed potatoes. Lots of ingredients. It makes 4 servings. So combine potatoes, garlic, and salt in enough water to just cover mixture in saucepan. Cook until tender. Drain, reserving half a cup of liquid. Mash potatoes and garlic. Whip in sour cream and enough liquid to make potatoes creamy. Stir in tomatoes. Keep warm. Combine tomato oil, bitters or vermouth, lemon zest, lemon juice, and Tabasco in small jar. Mixed well, set aside. To serve, place equal amount of potatoes in 4 martini glasses. Top with lobster. Place 2 endive leaves into each. Sprinkle with thyme and drizzle with tomato oil. Spear 2 olives onto 4 cocktail picks. Serve with martinis. Okay, so they're not drinks. It's just like, I don't think there's any alcohol in here. They're just like served liquid mashed potatoes. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and what you find. And the rest, bottom of the deck, the 3 of diamonds. There's that, the Mason, 3 of pentacles again. Scallops with lobster sauce. Oh, that's just lobster sauce. Whoa. Serve topped with lobster sauce. So one of these lobster recipes, like lobster isn't the main sort of, and maybe that's perfect for like a 3 of diamonds, 3 of pentacles, where lobster isn't the main attraction in the dish because it speaks to an ability to be present and contribute, but not need to be like a headliner or have everything about the lobster. To be capable of support and not always having to be whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Bye. Hopefully, this one isn't as choppy as all of the other ones seem to be nowadays.